The glittering world of reality television has always promised an escape from the mundane reality of everyday life, offering viewers a front-row seat to an idealized paradise filled with romance, luxury, and drama. Beneath the pristine, sun-drenched surface of these multi-million-dollar productions lies an intricate web of ambition, sudden fame, and a relentless public spotlight that can transform an ordinary individual into an overnight sensation. For years, audiences have tuned in by the millions to watch beautiful people navigate the complex waters of modern romance in secluded villas, isolated from the outside world and surrounded by cameras that capture their every whisper, glance, and tear. This carefully manufactured environment is designed to foster deep emotional connections and explosive entertainment, drawing in a dedicated fan base that treats the contestants not just as entertainers, but as real-world figures whose lives they follow with obsessive intensity. The allure of reality television lies precisely in this illusion of unfiltered reality, where ordinary people are plucked from obscurity and dropped into a glamorous landscape where their personalities are put to the ultimate test. It is a world where a single moment can define a destiny, where a charming smile can capture the hearts of the public, and where the promise of romance is intertwined with the intoxicating prospect of permanent stardom. However, this sudden elevation to the heights of popular culture comes with an immense and often terrifying price, as the digital age has ensured that no past action remains hidden forever. And the very audience that elevates these young stars can just as quickly turn into a fiercely critical tribunal. As you immerse yourself in this deep dive into the hidden pressures and dark turning points of modern reality stardom, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and join our growing community so you never miss an analysis of the stories shaping our culture today. The mechanism of modern television production relies heavily on the art of anticipation, creating a sense of urgency and excitement around every new season and every dramatic twist introduced to the screen. Producers spend months conducting extensive searches, reviewing thousands of applications, and interviewing potential cast members to find the perfect combination of personalities that will clash, bond, and captivate the viewing public. When a new group of contestants is finally revealed, the media machinery goes into overdrive, plastering their faces across promotional banners, digital advertisements, and social platforms to ensure maximum engagement from the very first episode. The viewers, armed with smartphones and an insatiable appetite for background information, immediately begin to dissect the lives of these new public figures, looking into their social media histories, their past relationships, and their overall online presence. This digital inspection has become an informal tradition among fans of reality programming, creating a secondary layer of entertainment that exists entirely outside the confines of the broadcasted episodes. In this hyper-connected landscape, the boundary between an individual's private past and their public present is completely erased, meaning that entering a reality show is no longer just a commitment to being filmed for a few weeks, but a total surrender of one's historical identity to the global internet community. The consequences of this total exposure are often unpredictable, shifting the power dynamic away from the traditional network executives and putting it directly into the hands of an active, vigilant audience that demands transparency, authenticity, and strict adherence to contemporary social standards. As the cameras begin rolling and the initial episodes air, the collective attention of the audience focuses intensely on the unfolding dynamics within the villa, analyzing every conversation for signs of genuine connection or strategic manipulation. The psychological pressure on the participants is immense, as they must adjust to a life without privacy, phones, or any contact with their loved ones, all while trying to form romantic bonds under the watchful eyes of millions. For the newcomers who enter the production mid-season, a traditional twist designed to disrupt established relationships and test the loyalty of the original cast, the challenge is even greater. These late arrivals must make a powerful first impression, exuding confidence, charm, and beauty to disrupt the existing social hierarchy and secure their place in the competition. The transition from an everyday influencer to a primetime reality star happens in a matter of seconds, as the broadcast introduces them to a massive, expectant audience hungry for fresh conflict and new romantic storylines. The immediate aftermath of such a debut is typically a massive surge in digital followers, a flood of supportive messages, and the sudden realization that their lives have been altered permanently. Yet, at the exact moment when their dreams of fame seem to be materializing into reality, a silent undercurrent of scrutiny is almost always activated behind the scenes, The digital footprint left behind by young adults in the modern era is vast and practically permanent, serving as an unyielding archive of their thoughts, actions, and speech from years before they ever contemplated a life in front of the camera. While standard background checks conducted by production companies are designed to uncover legal issues or overt liabilities, they frequently miss the deeper, more obscure corners of the internet where private videos, ancient forum posts, and deleted comments still linger in the archives of friends, acquaintances, or digital collectors. When an ordinary person suddenly becomes the centerpiece of a major television show, these forgotten fragments of the past are frequently unearthed by internet users who possess a remarkable ability to source historical media. The collision between a contestant's carefully curated television persona and the unedited reality of their past behavior creates a profound narrative dissonance that audiences find impossible to ignore. This phenomenon sets off a rapid chain reaction, transforming a festive celebration of a new television star into a complex high-stakes crisis that unfolds in real time across global social networks. Long before the production company can even formulate an official response, the tension builds quietly at first, confined to specialized forums and fan communities, before spilling over into the mainstream media and forcing a dramatic confrontation between the demands of the viewing public and the commercial interests of the entertainment industry. The delicate balance of a major television production can be shattered in an instant when the hidden past of a participant is suddenly dragged into the blinding light of public scrutiny. This exact scenario unfolded with devastating speed for Alannah, a 21-year-old influencer whose high-profile entry into the 8th season of Love Island USA was meant to be a crowning achievement in her budding career. Appearing during the highly anticipated Casa Amor twist, a dramatic phase of the show designed to test existing couples by introducing a wave of tempting new singles, Alannah made her grand debut clad in a bikini, projecting the effortless confidence expected of a modern reality star. For a brief moment, it seemed she was poised to become a central figure in the villa's romantic landscape, capturing the attention of both the male contestants and the millions of viewers watching at home on Peacock. However, the intoxicating euphoria of her primetime debut was short-lived, as the relentless machinery of internet sleuths immediately went to work. Within hours of her first appearance on screen, the digital paradise began to crumble as eagle-eyed viewers unearthed a series of highly controversial historical materials from the deep recesses of the internet. The primary catalyst for the burgeoning outrage was a resurfaced video clip that appeared to show Alannah enthusiastically singing along to a music track that prominently featured the N-word, a severe racial slur that carries immense historical weight and pain. As the video clip began to circulate rapidly across platforms like X and TikTok, the initial curiosity surrounding the newcomer quickly transformed into a wave of intense public condemnation. The situation escalated further when viewers uncovered an additional piece of digital evidence in the form of a screenshot detailing a past Instagram comment, which allegedly showed Alannah utilizing the exact same racial slur in a written format. The combination of these two discoveries created an immediate public relations wildfire, igniting fierce debates across social media networks regarding the ethics of reality television casting and the personal accountability of young influencers. On the platform X, passionate fans launched a coordinated campaign demanding her immediate removal from the series, with viewers expressing deep frustration over the apparent lack of thorough background checks conducted by the network. One prominent post bluntly demanded that production get Alannah off the show immediately, while another questioned whether the casting team had bothered to verify her history at all, asking what exactly went wrong during the screening process. The contrast between the carefree romantic atmosphere of the televised villa and the intense anger boiling over on the internet created an undeniable state of tension, leaving fans wondering how long the network could maintain its silence while the controversy dominated the cultural conversation, while the storm of public criticism intensified with every passing hour. An unexpected counter-narrative began to emerge from Alannah's immediate social circle, highlighting the deep personal rifts and emotional complexities that occur when an individual is publicly accused of racism. On the Monday following her debut, a close friend named Nick Rogers uploaded a dedicated video to TikTok in a direct effort to defend her character against the mounting backlash. Addressing the audience with a serious tone, Rogers acknowledged that many people had witnessed the resurfaced clip and the damaging screenshots circulating across the web. He stated that he felt compelled to share his personal experience of who he knew Alannah to be, describing her as a deeply caring and incredibly kind individual who had never once exhibited any racist traits or behaviors in his presence. Going a step further, Rogers openly challenged the authenticity of the written evidence, claiming that the screenshots were entirely fabricated. He argued that given the sophisticated nature of modern artificial intelligence and digital editing tools, it has become incredibly easy for malicious actors to manipulate media and create entirely false scenarios designed to destroy someone's reputation, turning his attention to the controversial video clip where Alannah was allegedly seen singing the rap "I'll slur." Rogers offered a more complex and legally cautious defense that revealed the deep societal anxieties surrounding these issues. He admitted that from the low-quality footage, he could not definitively determine whether she was actually articulating the N-word or simply moving her lips to the music, noting that the topic of non-black individuals using that word has been a highly sensitive and major conversation over the past several years. While he explicitly agreed that it is completely inappropriate for any person who is not black or a person of color to use that specific word, he attempted to contextualize the footage by arguing that the video was recorded during a very different cultural era. He claimed that if society were being completely honest with itself, that specific word was used much more freely and casually in past years, particularly around 2016 and 2017, when it was considered a common trend in certain youth subcultures. In conclusion, Rogers pleaded with the public not to use potentially false information to make a permanent, predetermined judgment of a great person's fundamental character. The defense of the embattled reality contestant became a multi-generational effort when her father, Stefan Kieser, stepped forward to protect his daughter's name in a prominent interview published by the celebrity news outlet TMZ. Speaking with intense emotion, Stefan completely shot down the widespread accusations of racism, labeling his daughter as an educated sweetheart who had worked hard to study at the prestigious USC School of Cinematic Arts. He explicitly stated that the overwhelming wave of internet hate and public backlash his daughter was receiving was entirely unwarranted and deeply damaging to their family. To combat the perception that his daughter held prejudiced views, he emphasized that their family maintains close friendships with individuals from a diverse array of backgrounds and cultures, suggesting that a single mistake from the past should not define her identity. Despite these vocal defenses from her loved ones, Alannah herself remained completely silent, unable to publicly address the alleged video or the damaging screenshot due to the strict communication restrictions imposed on contestants while they are technically under contract with the television network behind the closed doors of the Productio N office. The mood was far from defensive, as executives and producers found themselves trapped in a state of deep embarrassment and logistical panic. Having built the 8th season of Love Island USA around a message of positivity, inclusivity, and respectful communication under the new leadership of host Ariana Madix, the network viewed this latest scandal as a severe blow to the show's brand integrity. A production insider later revealed to the media that producers were profoundly disappointed and embarrassed that the casting process had allowed yet another massive mishap to slip through the cracks. Recognizing that the public outrage was reaching a critical mass, the production team made the swift and executive decision to terminate Alannah's participation on the show, effectively firing her from the project just days after her grand introduction. However, because the series operates on a tight schedule of pre-taped episodes, the logistics of her sudden removal presented an extraordinary challenge for the editing team, who were forced to work around the clock to alter the upcoming broadcasts. The details of how the production managed her sudden exit highlight the sheer desperation of the network to distance itself from the unfolding controversy. According to the insider source, producers instructed the editing suite to systematically remove Alannah from the pre-taped episodes as much as humanly possible before the episodes were delivered to the Peacock streaming platform. Because she had already interacted extensively with the other cast members during the Casa Amor segments, she could not be deleted from the footage entirely without completely destroying the narrative continuity of the show's romantic pairings. As a result, her screen time was heavily and visibly trimmed down during the Tuesday night episode, reducing her presence to fleeting background appearances while removing her individual confessionals and spoken dialogue. The source confirmed that this digital erasure was merely a temporary fix, as Alannah was completely removed from all subsequent episodes airing from Thursday night and onward, signaling a permanent end to her short-lived reality television journey and leaving the remaining contestants to navigate the villa without her. The sudden and quiet removal of Alannah Keyser from the vibrant landscape of the villa is not an isolated incident in the complex history of Love Island USA, but rather the latest chapter in a deeply troubling pattern that has repeatedly forced the network into a state of damage control. For a series that prides itself on being a modern, inclusive celebration of romance, the recurring eruption of historical racism scandals has exposed deep vulnerabilities in how reality television contestants are screened and selected in the digital age. The shockwaves from Alannah's sudden dismissal were magnified by the fact that the production was already reeling from an identical crisis that had occurred just weeks prior, directly threatening the launch of the 8th season before the first episode had even aired. In May, only days before the highly publicized season premiere hosted by Ariana Madix, another confirmed contestant named Vasana Montgomery was abruptly axed from the lineup. Just like in Alannah's case, the young business owner's dreams of television stardom evaporated overnight when private videos from her past suddenly leaked into the public sphere, revealing her utilizing the exact same highly offensive racial slur. The details surrounding Vasana Montgomery's rapid downfall offered a stark preview of the institutional challenges facing major networks like NBC and Peacock. In one of the resurfaced clips, Vasana could be heard clearly articulating the slur while rapping along to a popular music track, while a separate video captured her using the word in a casual setting during a gaming session with a close friend. When the network caught wind of the footage, the reaction was immediate, with sources close to the production confirming to TMZ that the young entrepreneur was pulled from the cast list instantly to prevent a massive preseason boycott. The ultimate irony of Vasana's situation, as explained by internal production insiders, was that these highly damaging social media videos had been kept on private accounts for years, completely shielding them from the standard automated background checks utilized by the casting department during the initial vetting process. This critical blind spot left producers entirely vulnerable to an active audience that possesses both the time and the digital tools to dismantle a contestant's public persona within minutes of their official announcement. To fully understand the gravity of these repeated controversies, one must look back to the previous year, when the entire franchise was shaken by back-to-back racial scandals that permanently altered how the public views the show's internal culture. During that tumultuous production cycle, a contestant named Yulissa Escobar became the center of a massive public backlash after vintage audio clips from an old podcast episode resurfaced online. In those audio files, Yulissa used the N-word multiple times while casually discussing her past relationships, prompting immediate fury from an audience that refused to tolerate the trivialization of generational trauma. The production's response to Yulissa's scandal was swift and brutal, as she was removed from the villa completely off-camera during the second episode of the season, long before the remaining contestants had even woken up for the day. Upon returning to the real world and facing the wreckage of her public reputation, Yulissa took to her Instagram account to issue an extensive public apology under the title of owning her mistakes and speaking her truth. In her written statement, she confessed to using a racial slur out of pure ignorance, acknowledging that her lack of understanding regarding the immense historical weight and pain behind the word did not excuse the very real impact it had on generations of viewers. The dust from Yulissa's sudden departure had barely settled when the PR production was forced to confront yet another crisis involving another Season 7 contestant named Sierra Ortega. In a scenario that mirrored the current situation with Alannah, internet users digging through Sierra's social media archive uncovered deeply offensive posts dating back to two separate instances many years apart. The evidence against Sierra was visually undeniable, consisting of an Instagram post from January 2015 showing her at the top of a mountain using a severe racial slur offensive to Chinese individuals to describe the appearance of her smile, followed by a February 2023 Instagram story utilizing the exact same derogatory term while receiving cosmetic Botox treatments. The discovery of these posts ignited a massive wave of global outrage, with viewers flooding the network's official pages to demand her immediate termination from the island. Following her inevitable removal from the show, Sierra's parents broke their silence to address what they described as the most painful weeks of their lives, releasing a public statement pleading for basic human decency, patience, and compassion while asserting that they knew their daughter's true heart would face the situation with honesty and grace in the wake of these relentless structural failures. The management of Love Island USA has attempted to draw a hard line in the sand, using their official social platforms to establish a clear moral standard for both the cast members and the millions of fans who participate in the online community. Shortly after unveiling the cast for the current season, the network released a prominent, brightly colored statement on Instagram designed to foster an environment of total positivity and mutual respect. The official message reminded the public that while the production loves seeing reactions, opinions, and heated debates, the villa fundamentally runs on good vibes. And every single participant deserves to feel entirely safe and respected throughout their journey. Concluding with an emphatic reminder that Love Island should be a space dedicated entirely to fun rather than negativity, the network urged its global fan base to keep their comments kind, positive, and focused on the search for true love, yet. As the franchise continues to navigate the turbulent waters of modern popular culture. The reality of these repeated casting failures suggests that a simple public relations statement is no longer enough to heal the deep divide between the production and its audience. The journeys of young influencers like Alannah Fasana Montgomery, Yulissa Escobar, and Sierra Ortega serve as a powerful cautionary tale about the unforgiving nature of fame in the 21st century, where the boundaries between a forgotten past and a highly televised present are completely non-existent. For the networks and creators behind these massive reality television empires, the lesson is clear. As the modern audience has proven that it will no longer accept the glamorization of individuals who carry unaddressed histories of racial insensitivity. As the current season continues under the watchful eyes of host Ariana Maddox,